it's time for the top 5 inversions of the week.
Number 5.
Coming in at number 5 on my list this week is Dow. I don't trade Dow. I didn't take this trade, but it was such a nice looking setup that I wanted to highlight it anyway. We could see that Tuesday we have this large downrange candle, and then coming into the day on Friday, this is actually our high of the week. So if you look at the weekly candle at this point in time, this will be the weekly high. We know that large players focus on daily, weekly highs and lows. And so this is a key level to look for a possible rejection. Dropping down onto the 4-hour chart before this day, we could see that we have a very key area of interest right here. What I love about this, on the 4-hour, we have this imbalance. It's also a balanced price range with this inversion. We've reacted from it once. This is our key swing point. This is the high that made the low. So again, from a market structure perspective, this is a very nice level to look for a rejection. Beyond that, once price drifts up higher into this level, we can see that we have this inside bar on the 4-hour from Thursday, and we can see that the low of this inside bar, when we get just kind of a mediocre breakout of an inside bar, this is the level that you want to keep your eye on, that price is likely to revisit at some point in the near future. Unless it's a very impulsive breakout, this is an area to watch for as a possible target. So we're now on our lower time frame, 15-minute. We had this fair value gap that propelled price higher into the stop raid above these Asia highs. Then we had the breakdown in London session, and then we show the intent down to the other side prior to New York, at which point price rallies back up to this inversion, and at 9:30 the market sells off aggressively, ultimately reaching towards that target from the 4-hour inside bar low and beyond. The reason why I couldn't rank this any higher than number 5 is because while it's great structurally, while the context is fantastic, you'd have to position yourself prior to the open. And for me, it's just unfortunate that the way it times out is not one that I would have ever traded, but it is just a beautiful setup. So at least for eye training and kind of practice, this is a great one to spot and to study.
Number 4.
Number 4 on my list is NQ from Monday. And what I like about this is we have a very clear sell side liquidity target on the daily chart. This is the low that led to the new high. And so structurally a very important level, a good level to see some sort of reaction from. Jumping down to the 4-hour, we can see overnight price action is very favorable for longs. We had this long wick off of the level, and then a consolidation candle inside wick, and then an engulfing candle during London. And so with this engulfment, we have a very clear indication to follow that bias, follow that direction, follow that momentum into the New York session. Now, the one reason why I didn't rank this trade any higher on my list is that we have this gap from the opening of the new week. It's a little bit of a tricky spot to be taking buys, but it does have a good overall context. And once we drop down onto the even lower time frames, you'll see that it's even cleaner than it appears. On the 1-hour, we can see that we had this imbalance and this balanced price range inversion after hitting our level. And again, we are into this gap, but the price action at the open is going to wick up higher first and then trade down into this. And so we have a false start situation where we're making a new high of the day, luring in early longs, but because of this gap, we're going to see a rejection back down into this imbalance. And here we are on the 5-minute right before New York open. We have a very nice equal low accumulation. We're going to see that double-sided manipulation up high, reacting off of our gap, and then coming down low into our imbalance. So now we're down on the 1-minute. We can see the beautiful price action here, the rate of these equal lows after the market opens, and then that strong V reversal closing very decisively, causing the inversion, and a retest of that level, or just buying here on the close with the stop below, gave a very nice trade. It's a wonderful setup that made number 4 on my list.
Number 3.
Number 3 on my list is ES from Wednesday. And what I liked about this is the prior day gave us a very clean direction. We could see that we had this run up to the high of the week, high of the month. Very nice reversal pattern at the high, engulfment down and close down near the low. And we have these equal lows down below. So great target. We have this fair value gap propelled us to that high. And now after trying to hold it again as support, we invert it completely. And so this presents a great area of interest to look for trades. Now I'm down on the 30-minute chart right before New York session, and you can see what happened is price already hit those equal lows, but it's a very shallow run, and we're now pulling back into our key level. And so, of course, if it had just made another equal low right here, or come just a little bit short, I would have ranked this a little bit higher on my list. It's not as great of a setup in my view because of that. And at the open, what I like about this is we have a very clear pump and dump setup. So the market has made a new low, but then it's pumped back up in a way that's not very impulsive, I guess is the way you could say, until you get to the very extreme here. We have these lows that are very easy to see. You could imagine that this reaction would at least get us down here, if not towards the Asia lows again, if not again deeper below. We also have this pump coil sideways. So volume is building up here right at the open. And then at 9:30, you can see that we get a nice engulfing at the open. So once we see this fair value gap flip, which we get an impulsive break of it, opening range is going down. You can see that we get a nice reaction eventually off of it into the low, where we in fact do make lower lows. It took a little bit of time to play out. Again, this is the 15-minute time frame, so it wasn't as fast as you normally like to see. However, it did make it to the overall target. Good trade overall, good context, good point of interest. And that's why I have it on my list at number 3.
Number 2.
Number 2 on my list is gold from Thursday. Heading into the day, you can see that even though we're pretty range bound on the month, we did make a higher high, and now we're pulling back down to one of the breakout candles that led to that higher high. So this low helped drive to this high. Yes, it's also this as well, but before we get to there, we're at this one. And so this is a nice level to look for longs. Now, if I jump down onto the lower time frame, now that we're on the 1 hour, I think you can see that it's more apparent that structurally speaking, this is a valid low that broke out above these highs. And so when we raid this low, similar to that NQ example earlier, this is a good level to look for buys. What I also love about this is that the day prior fell short of this and then had a nice impulsive looking move. And so one of the criteria for a good failed breakdown that I have is there a move that it would have looked like it would have been a good trade to be a part of? And that's what I like to see a failed breakout of. And so in this case, this looks like, yeah, a very nice move. It would have been very nice to be in this trade. And so this is a great level to just keep in mind for a stop run in addition to these together. So if we go now towards the New York session onto the execution time frame. Now we're on the 15-minute chart, and this is absolutely what I love to see and has this very, very high on my list this week. In addition to this failed breakdown of this very impulsive move, look at how scary this red candle is. So this is a very important detail that I almost love to see that makes it really, really A+. When you see this exhaustion, and then what ends up happening is we get no follow through. So we hit our key levels. Furthermore, looking at the price action on the move down, this is excellent, seeing this low resistance liquidity, these trend lines, and then this untapped session high. And so once we get that inversion, even though it's not the most explosive move back up, maybe you get a 2R or a 1.5 or 1.7, but to me, this is an A+ setup that I would love to have taken. I did not take it this week. I was in a different trade on this day, but beautiful setup on gold.
Number 1.
Number 1 on my list is NQ on Thursday. Let's break it down. Heading into the day, you can see that Wednesday had a trap of this move below this low on Tuesday. So Tuesday rated the high of the month and rejected the high of the month, also all-time highs. Then we had a very sudden move below this low. So this at points on Wednesday during the day, it looked like we might have found a top. It looked like maybe we were going to reverse all the way back down. Who knows what people were thinking? But again, I just know that once we trade below this and close aggressively back above this level, I consider everything down here to be a trap and sensitive to either price reacting off of it or not even revisiting it, because it's going to cause pain to those who sold, and it's just going to reach higher and higher until these people capitulate on their positions. So great context on the daily chart. Okay, now we're on the 4-hour chart heading into the session. So what we can see overnight, the first 3 4-hour candles, is that we flipped this imbalance, this 4-hour gap here to the left. So we had this bearish fair value gap here. The market reacted off of it to hit our low of this New York session low from Monday, where the market had its reversal. Not only do we have this imbalance that's been flipped on the bearish side, we've created a bullish imbalance to the upside. So for me, this is again showing further confirmation that we're going to at least hit this candle's high here, but notice that these are all lower. And so it's very possible that we will run out all of these highs and create a new high for the week. A quick peek at the 1-hour time frame, we can see that within this 4-hour imbalance, we have this larger 1 hour. So now we're at right before the session, and we can see that we did make a higher high, a new high of day And when that happens, we get a new higher high on the day. It's a good recipe for a dump and pump setup. We have these clean lows here. You can see these equal lows on the 15-minute chart. We have our point of interest on the hourly, 15-minute, 4-hour. We also have the breakout of Asia high. And so now we're just kind of consolidating and we're looking for a range low to be rated to look for our entry. Jumping down to the 5-minute, we can see that right when the market opens up at 9:30, we see this dump down into these lows, into our imbalance, and then we get our V reversal. Now, what's great about this, aside from all of the prior context of which have us at number 1, is that you can really enter on any of these gaps. So we have a 5-minute confirmation. We have a nice 3-minute confirmation. This is the one I took, but then we also had this nice 1-minute confirmation through this imbalance. And then what also makes this setup great is this type of price action just looks like garbage. There's nothing in here that looks like it would resist price. So once you're in this trade, again, it's a very straight line shot towards this high. And then of course we have our higher time frame targets. So again, this setup really had it all. It had the greater context on the daily chart, the 4-hour overnight session, 1-hour gaps, and then the price action right at the open where we've made our higher high and now we're dumping down to the lows. We see the inversion and it's a very clean entry towards our target.